Good evening, everyone. This is the Ask Dr. Renee show. If you have never watched the show before, our show is here to motivate and inspire you to live the life that you deserve. Let's face it, everyone deserves to be happy, and life is short. Tomorrow's not promised. Most recently, this weekend, last week we lost Prince. The week before that, Chicago and the rest of the syndicated radio world lost Doug Banks. Before that was Fife from Tribe Called Quest. Let's just face it, we need to live life now. And I must say, of the three of them, I would say Prince really, truly lived. Okay? So let's live life now and let's listen to this fabulous story. We have lots of great stories of people who are living the life they deserve. If you would like to watch past episodes, you can always go to my website, AskDrRenee.info. Click on the Ask Dr. Renee show or go to my YouTube channel, Ask Dr. Renee. Don't forget to subscribe when you get there. And today we have Andrea Butler, who is the editor-in-chief of Ceci Magazine. So we'll talk about that more later, but thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, well, I'm so excited to talk to you because I have actually a couple friends that wanted to start magazines, so I was telling them they should watch because that's
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's start at the very beginning. So when you were a child growing up, what did you want to be?
Everything. So when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a writer in some way. It was either a writer, a nurse, a ballerina, a big sister at one point that happened, and then it was to be everything. So I finally settled on. I also want to be a recording artist because Brandy is my favorite. But I eventually settled on writing because that's something that I love the most. And as a teenager, I was obsessed with magazines. So then I kind of put those two together, and that's how it first got started in my head.
Okay. So where did you grow up again? You're in the DMV?
Yeah, but my dad's a Marine, so I grew up all over the world. So here, 29 Palms, California, Okinawa, Japan. I speak a little Japanese.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa, konbanwa.
That's the extent of it. I don't even know what I said. Look, I don't even know what I said. I just watched A Different World like everyone else.
Oh my goodness. Well, I can teach you a little bit. And so I kind of made. This is basically my home though, the DMV, because we always came back. So.
Okay. Awesome. So when did you, so you wanted to write. So in high school, you obviously probably, did you join the school paper and all that fun stuff?
We didn't have a paper at my school. I know. I did join the yearbook though. I was on the yearbook. Yes.
I was on the yearbook too.
Yes. And I wrote the captions for the student life section. And I wrote the opening for, I think, one of the sections. So that was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So So then what school did you go to? I know.
For college, I went to the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. That's where I got my undergrad. I repped my shirt earlier today for college signing day. And,
yes, I was. That's right.
Yeah. And I met our new chancellor last Tuesday. It was amazing. I started out as a vocal major because I was going to be a singer. I was a voice major for a year and a half, and I was like, this isn't that fun anymore. I love singing, but it was just making it not fun with I just didn't like it. Just wasn't a good fit for me to major in. And so I was like, I called my parents, I'm going to change my major to English. And they were not really that surprised. So I changed my major to English, still made it out in 4 years. And then
over
I know, right? It was kind of not an option for me to stay 5 years. They were like, no, you got to. But I went straight to graduate school after that. So that's where I studied. I went to Kent State for grad school, and that's where I studied magazine journalism.
Awesome. Who knew it was even a degree? Had no idea. Didn't know. So when you graduated, did you say, I'm going to start a magazine, or you said, well, I need to go get a job?
When I graduated from grad school?
Yeah. Since you said you were straight. So yeah.
When I graduated from grad school, I was like, I think it was fear. Because I was like, I don't know. I think I'm kind of a little tired of this right now. I'm going to be an English teacher because that's going to be so fun. I'm going to make all the kids love English. And so I did that for 5 years. And then I realized that's not really the fit for me. Like, the kids were fine, but I didn't really like the politics of the whole system. And so
What grade were you teaching?
I taught 10th, 11th, and 12th while I was there. And 11th was my favorite because it was American literature, and that's my favorite area. But and then I went from there. I went to be an editor at Living Social in DC, and I was there for about 4 years. And then while I was there, well, actually, while I was teaching, my business partner and friend from high school, Shannon Boone, she's watching too. So hi, Shannon. She and I launched our first test issues, and back in like 2009, 2010, and we did 3 of them. And then I was like, well, we'll come back. Well, I wasn't sure if I was going to come back, but we tried it out. Didn't really like the paper and everything that we started with, and so if we came back to it, I knew I wanted to do a redesign. So I went to Living Social. While I was there, I decided, I was like, I really want to do the magazine again. It was always pulling at me, and I know I just kept circumventing it a lot, like, oh no, I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna go over here, but it was always like, this is what you need to be doing, like, knock knock. So I called up Shannon. I was like, hey, do you want to try the magazine again? She's like, yeah. She was getting her master's in magazine design, so it was perfect. So we relaunched December 2012, and we've been publishing quarterly ever since then. And we did a redesign. We printed at a local printer in Alexandria, and so I'm really obsessed with the paper of the magazine. It like needs to be glossy and feel like a magazine, and it's just, so I'm obsessed with that part. So that's how we got back to it.
So I must understand, what did your parents think when you left Living Social and decided to do this?
So they're very supportive, and they're also watching. They are very supportive, and they actually let me come back home to live. I tried to stick it out. I stuck it out for like 6 months. And I was like, no, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to stay in my apartment because I did not want to come back home. But they let me come back so that I could pursue the magazine without so much anxiety and worry about money and all that. So I'm very grateful for that. But I think they were a little bit like, well, are you sure? Maybe you could do this on the side. But I knew that I couldn't, because I was doing that already. I tried that twice, and it just didn't work, because it's hard to do the magazine, like interviews and stuff, on the weekends all the time, because the people we talk to, they're busy on the weekends a lot, and they're busy all the time. So we got to fit them in when I can, like in the middle of the day, and I couldn't do that. I also couldn't pursue finding sponsorships and advertisers because I was at work all day. And so I've been able to do that more now. But now they've always been supportive, but now I think they understand more, like, it's hard to do 2 things at once. And my mom helps me out a lot. I call her my intern. So she helps me out a lot, and she goes to all my conferences with me. My dad helps. He paid for a lot of the conferences we've gone to. And again, they let me eat their food, and they let me sleep in their house. So they're very supportive, and I'm very blessed to have them.
That is awesome. So this is Trep Tuesday. So this is a day for entrepreneurs. So,
okay.
So we want to get into the nitty gritty. So how, as a matter of fact, somebody just inboxed me. She might be watching. And she has been faced with getting a radio show, but she would have to pay for her spot. So they suggest she get sponsorship. So can you walk us through, how do you acquire sponsorship?
It's very hard. I will say that. I will say I am by no means an expert. So I have like probably literally 15 jobs in the job that I do. So part of it is finding advertisers and sponsorships. And I've gotten a little bit better at it. I've gotten a few. Most recently, we got Hot Kinky Hair clip-ins to sponsor our summer issue, and so that was fabulous. And all I do really is email them, and I just, I research first of all who I think would be a good fit, and then I reach out to them, and I'm just like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I've been reaching out a lot to Black-owned businesses. I feel like they will understand really what I'm trying to do, and they're more responsive. So that's what I've just done a lot of research on what Black-owned businesses will fit our demographic. Send them an email and just basically tell them what we're doing and say, hey, do you want to sponsor us? And sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no, sometimes it takes like a lot of back and forth, and then they say yes or no. So it's really like, it's just what's the word? Hit or miss sometimes. So it takes a lot of time. Just have to be patient. Sometimes I have problems with that, but it takes a lot of time, and eventually it'll work out. So trying to get the sponsorship.
In your major, is that how you learned exactly how much to charge and the spacing and all that stuff?
In my magazine journalism classes, we learned about the business of journalism. And so I knew, like, all I knew when I went to grad school was that I love to read magazines, and there's nothing out there for Black girls. And I just didn't really know anything else. So I'm glad that I ended up liking the business of magazines also, because you learn to analyze the ones in your like area, your competitors, and you see what they price their magazines at. So that's how I kind of priced mine. And so ours like $3.99 for one copy, $10 for a whole year, and that's very comparable to the other magazines out there. And so magazines, what pays for magazines though is the sponsorships and the advertisers. So that's why it's really important to have them too. So
that's what I'm saying. How did you know how much to charge them?
Oh, okay. So you learn about CPM, which is cost per thousand, and you set your CPM, meaning how many readers, based on how many readers your magazine has. So our magazine has about 10,000 readers. And so I think our CPM is 70, I believe. So that means they pay $70 per 1,000 readers when we do our typical media kit. But now what I also have started to do is set up sponsorship packages which feature different levels, just like any other sponsorship, like bronze, gold, silver, platinum, whatever. And we have the 1,000 level, the 3,000 level, and the 5,000 level. So they actually get more for their money in those. So some people prefer the packages, some people prefer like the a la carte. So that's how we do that with cost per thousand, basically.
Neato. Very interesting. So what did you think when you got your first sponsor?
I was like, yes. Oh, that it was. I'll tell you, it was Eden Body Works. They were the first one.
I am a brand ambassador for Eden. I did not know that.
Oh my goodness!
But while you were talking, I was like, she should talk to Eden. Oh my God, that is so hilarious.
Yes, the other Renee. I talked to her at Eden Body Works, and they ran 2 ads with us. And so that was fantastic. I was so excited. It gives you the motivation, because I'm not gonna lie, I have bad days sometimes, because as an entrepreneur it's hard. The struggle is so real.
Who are you telling?
Right? So I have my days where I'm like crying and I'm like, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing with my life? And I have a mentor I talk to and vent to. I vent to my mom a lot, and then I just have to take some time. And then I actually had a rough few days a couple weeks ago, and then I was like, no, the next day I was like, no, I'm going to find a sponsor, because we're doing our very first cover photo shoot. Usually the PR reps have been sending us photos because our budget's just not that big. So this one's in LA. So I was like, okay, you're right. So this is in LA. I can't go there yet, but I'm planning everything remotely. I know, but I'm planning everything remotely, and I had to hire a photographer and makeup artist and a hair person, and I had to get the clothes. I had to reach out to all the brands, and I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna pay for all this? And then I just got on it, emailed people just all over the place, and I heard back from one, but they were like, we're gonna sponsor you for. I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. So that also reaffirmed me, like, okay, you're on the right track. And I really feel like if I was kind of pushed to do this cover shoot, because I avoided one before because I was like, I just don't have funds for that right now. So I felt like I had to do this one because it's the only way we're going to get photos. And I feel like if I didn't, just like the push we needed to really start going to the next level with the magazine and the photos for the covers and stuff. So I was nervous. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but it's like everything else. It's always worked out. I stress out, but it always works out. So
isn't he amazing? Isn't God amazing?
Yes.
So every time I'm like, oh Jesus Lord.
I know, because
then all of a sudden, poof,
right. Because you just don't think it's gonna happen. Like you have the faith, but you're like, I just don't know. And then boom, it happens.
Right. And you know, and the thing is that he says, don't worry, but I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do?
I know.
Like, I have done everything I can possibly do. Yes. Well, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
And then I'm like, I try to just, okay, I have faith. There's no need to worry. Like, I'm fine. There's no big deal. And then like today, let me just tell you, today, girl, $500 disappeared. Like,
oh, yes.
I was like, never get an email like that. Oh my God, thank you. What? So I was like, and I had to look up and say, you said, don't worry. You're right. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not a big deal. I got this. We're good.
And I'm not going to lie. I'll probably worry again next month. But you know what? That's just how it goes sometimes. But I know that it'll work out. I'll probably have my moment, but it'll work out.
So wait a minute. Let me understand. So you are going to LA now, or you're not?
No, I don't don't have to go to LA.
But you have to go to LA. So we just gonna have to figure that out. I'm the queen.
Well, the photo shoot's next Wednesday.
Okay. Look, I'm still trying to get to New York on Friday. You just never know. You're right. Never know. Okay, so my dear friend in my head, Dave Ramsey, says that if you want to know a ship that's gonna sink, it's a partnership. That's the best ship that always sinks. So how does your partnership work out?
My partnership with my
Shannon, right? Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Shannon. Okay. Well, Shannon and I have really known who each other were since middle school. And then I moved and then I came back and we became friends in high school. And we run in the same crew. There's about 4 or 5 of us that are friends. So Shannon and I, we just, we're high school friends, went off to college, kept in touch. And then I really just knew that she was doing graphic design in undergrad. And so I just reached out and I said, hey, do you want to do this with me? She's like, yeah. So then when we started doing it again, we really work very well together because I think that, as my mom says, she's a lot calmer than me when it comes to things. Like I'll be like, what's going on? But she's a lot calmer. We just get along really well in general. So, and we're friends and we've never had an argument. So that probably helps. And she's the art director and she does that part. And then I do editorial and like sponsorships and all that. So we have our separate things and we just come together and collaborate. It's really easy, I think, for us. We've never had a problem. I guess it would be, make sure you know who you're partnering up with first and hope for the best. I mean, I don't know. I guess it could go either way. It's gone really great for us. So I guess it could go either way, but it's really worked out for us. We're still friends. We still hang out outside of the magazine. So
that's awesome. Now, is Shannon full-time or she has a day job?
Shannon has a day job, which I don't even know how she does it because she has a day job and she's a mom and she's in grad school again and she does the magazine. And I'm just like, bless you. I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she does it. So I send her like all the editorial and stuff and we help each other pick the photos. Like I'll pick a few and she'll say I like this one and I'll send it to her and then she lays everything out. It works out and I'm very thankful for that.
Now, do you guys have a written agreement?
Well, we don't actually have a contract, but we have the signed partnership. We do have that.
Okay. So do you use some program on the computer to lay out the magazine or? Okay.
So she uses InDesign and that's what most magazines use. And so she uses that. And again, I just send her everything and she makes it pretty. I am not good at that at all. Like I can't.
I created my media kit on InDesign.
You did?
But I had my former guest, good friend, also the person that prints my business cards for me and will probably do a lot more printing for me, Lindsay Parks of Money Graphics. She made it look like something I could distribute, because what I had done basically was put the verbiage in there.
Uh-huh.
And then I sent her separately Dropbox with the pictures, and she made it all look fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Media kit is
that's what Shannon does.
Right. But I just sat there and I said, okay, I've done as much as I can. Can you please? And so she
sometimes I'll have suggestions as I start to look at things more. I mean, I can't lay anything out, but I'll be like, hey, can we put like a sidebar over here? And can we do I call them graphic thingies because I don't know the proper word for it. And like a circle. She understands. We get each other's language. So she understands and she just makes it look amazing. I mean, the covers, it just looks so good. And I could not do it without her.
And I completely, that's good. You know exactly where your lanes are. That's good. Yeah. So do you have distribution in any stores in your area or any place?
No, it's very, very difficult to get into stores. So I've reached out so hard. So I've reached out to the distributors and they've basically told me, I don't think you'll be profitable for us. So I was like, yeah. So I'm like, okay. I tried again. They said the same thing. So I've just been like, all right, I'll just sell it from my website and ship them out. And so we do all the distribution ourselves. So I literally sit on the floor for hours and stuff envelopes. And I actually kind of like that. It's kind of soothing. I listen to Pandora, stuff the envelopes, ship them out. My mom helps me and my dad helps me with paying to ship them out if I need help. And so yeah, that's how we do it right now.
Now what about going and putting them in, pediatricians' offices or something?
Now they have to order as well. So I have talked to some people like my dentist started with him, and they go through subscription services, and we are actually on several of them because we're in hundreds of middle school, high school, and public libraries across the country and Canada. And we also have subscribers in the UK, Australia, and South Africa. So that's how most of the schools, and like the same thing would be for waiting rooms, but we're not in a lot of waiting rooms now, except Planned Parenthood of New England. We are in 19 of those. So that's the only kind of waiting room area things we are in right now, but we're working on getting in more. We've focused a lot on the schools because we go to a lot of the conventions. So besides our individual subscribers, we focus on the schools because that's another way to reach our audience. And we know that the librarians are looking for something like this for their library because we'll go to a convention, they'll walk up and say, oh my God, I've been looking for this for years. Like, I was too. That's why I started it. So it's great to interact with people who really understand what you're doing and support.
And why you do it.
Right, and why I do it, yeah. And that's we just actually got, a month ago, Washington, D.C. ordered for all of their public middle and high schools. So we're in all of them right now.
Awesome. That is
that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I just had a thought of something I wondered, how did you do? Oh, so what would you say for your business, what are your 3 most important programs on the computer or apps on the phone that help you to get done whatever you got to get done?
Microsoft Word for me. I use that every day. I also use, of course, Instagram and Twitter. But for organizing, I keep it really simple. Like I just use Word to edit everything. I make PDFs when I make my contracts. I turn them into PDF. I do use PicMonkey because this person right here does not do well with Photoshop. It's just too difficult. So the layers, I just can't with that. So PicMonkey is a super easy version of Photoshop, and it's free. So I make stuff on there all the time.
No, I've used Canva. Have you used Canva?
Okay. Have you used what?
Canva.
I haven't used that.
Okay, Canva's free also. It's on the computer. I used to use PicMonkey. As a matter of fact, my lovely lower third was created with PicMonkey. But I started using Canva, and now I can't go back to PicMonkey. I use Canva.
I'm gonna have to check that out now.
But I will tell you that I do know how to use Photoshop, and Photoshop is how I make the graphics for the show. So that was Photoshop.
Okay.
And Lindsay, Money Graphics, she designed that too. But but what I'll tell you is I went to Skillshare. They are not paying me, everyone, but Skillshare.com. They had a free thing, and I did a class on Photoshop, and that's how I learned about the layers. And then, like, 3 weeks later, Lindsay sent me all my files, and I was like, oh, my God, I can do this. And I did it. So she used to make them every week for me. I would send her who's going to be on and the date and time. But now I do it myself because I know how to use Photoshop. So,
okay.
And it was not a long class. I want to say it was 30 minutes or an hour.
I'll have to check that out.
I got this. Click, 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 click. Okay, I got this.
I'll have to check that out because all I can do really, really well on Photoshop is change. I can change a photo from 72 DPI to 300 DPI. And I can change it from RGB to CMYK. And like in crop stuff. So that's all I can do. So I'll check that Skillshare out.
So what is the next big milestone you're striving to achieve for the magazine? So what's your big next target?
So I have a lot. I feel like, well, first I just want to get this cover shoot done. That's a big milestone, I think, for us. So I'm excited for that, and I can't wait. I can't wait till it's over so I know I did it right. Like, I can't wait till it's just all done well. Another thing would be just continuing to grow our followers on social media and just the awareness of the magazine more. So we're all over the country, but it's kind of in sporadic places. It's most heavily where I live. So like Virginia, Maryland, DC, and we also have a good population of people in the schools in South Carolina. I really like to get into more schools and more subscribers in North Carolina. That's been a difficult thing for some reason. It has been, but we're going to keep trying that. We've been doing a direct mail campaign to focusing on North Carolina, Texas, and I think New Jersey right now, because we're looking at the major populations of Black people and Black teen girls to be there. So we started with that. So that's ongoing. But really, I kind of feel like every milestone is also every quarter when we finish an issue, because it's just always I feel like it's an accomplishment that we're able to keep going. And so I just really want to get the word out more, though. So thank you for having.
Oh, no problem. We just got a question in. It's on Twitter. Alicia, if you see it, my EP, if you see it, could you please send it over to me? I can't find it. It popped up on my screen, but the whole thing wasn't there. What I was going to ask you was that, so you talked about, getting that sponsorship and that. How do you keep all of that organized? Because a lot of people, because I have my brand, but then I have, my clients and stuff. Everyone's like, how do you, because I'm very organized and I use Evernote, they're my best friend. But what do you use to keep all of that in line? Because I'm sure there's a lot of, I got to call that one back on this day and I got to call that one back on this day,
I've tried Evernote, and I don't know what it is. I think it might be like, oh, there's too many apps for me. I just can't stick with one. So really, I use Google Calendar. Like, I keep things super simple. I put if I need to follow up with someone, when we decide the follow-up date, I immediately put it in my calendar, and it just reminds me. Also, I'm a very pen and paper person. I have to write everything out. So I have a lot of papers around me that I just keep and organized in a certain way. Like, I have binders, so I'm very kind of old school with that, but it just works for me. I like to flip the papers and see, what am I doing today, and scratch it off, like actually scratch things out. Oh yeah, I love it.
May the Lord bless and keep you. How old are you again?
35.
Paper and pen? What is that?
I write everything out. All my articles, I write.
Whenever I tell people I write things down, that means that I've typed it into my phone, my computer, or my iPad.
I love paper. I just do. I live for notebook paper.
And like I tell my mother, paper gets lost, but my phone backs up to the computer, backs up to the iPad. And so these things are never lost. So I know exactly where everything is at all times. And I don't lose stuff.
See? Yeah, that's a good way to stay organized too.
Yeah, I don't know how you all do it with the paper and the pen. Okay, I found the question. So this question is from Shantae, who actually subscribed to the magazine. Cocoa Pie Clothing is her clothing company. Yes. She said, you mentioned in-store feedback being issues with profitability. I sometimes worry about that as well, moving into a retail space. How or in what ways do you increase visibility at a significant pace without that presence?
That is something that we're still working on. So I feel like I always want things to increase significantly faster than they tend to do. So I wish like it was easy to just go viral, because, you know, random things go viral a lot of times. But what I've learned is that sometimes it really is just something that takes time. You just have to keep working on it and keep building. So what I do is I will find, like, to build a presence, a lot of times I will go to my competitors, see who's following them, see if any of them fit my demographic, and follow them, and they usually follow back. So that's something that kind of lets them know, hey, we're here too. Also, when
and
I'm
really,
tweeting,
honestly, you don't have any competitors because there are no other magazines that fit this demographic. So you all are sharing a little bit of a same demo, but you don't really have competitors. It's not like, look, it's not like Ebony and Essence. I mean, it's
right.
You know what I mean?
That's true. Well, the other teen magazines, I'll be like, hey, let's
right, exactly. Other teen magazines, but you're not, you know.
Right, not direct competitors.
Exactly. And I see behind you, Keke Palmer's on it. So do you, because I mean, I've not met Keke. I know a lot of people, you know, I live in Chicago, so a lot of people here obviously know Keke Palmer since this is her hometown. But have you talked to these people like, okay, we're going to put you on the cover. Can you please put us up on your Instagram or something?
Yeah. So I will admit that I didn't even really think about that when I was first starting. Well, like, to actually ask them. But no, it gets better. So when I was first starting, so we actually talked to them, but when I actually started, like, oh, well, maybe I should actually ask them. I just kind of expected that they would. I know.
Have you ever heard the little story about when you assume?
It's trial and error. I've learned from my mistakes. That was like 2 years ago. So since then,
as soon as you get the budget for a marketing person, go ahead.
But no, since then, that was 2 years ago. So since then, I do ask every time, but not every time do they actually. So I can't make them, but I will say, most of the people we've had, I mean, they've been amazing. They've been amazing to talk to. But I will say one of my favorite people we've had on the cover was last summer, and that was Trevor Jackson. I asked him to share. His mom was sharing. He was sharing. He took a picture holding the magazine.
He's related to one of the people that's been on my show. Do I have her book right here? I don't have her book right here. Her name is Sonia Jackson Miles. She is the creator of the Sister Accord. He's related to her. Funny.
Oh. Yeah. So he posted so many times, and I was like, oh my God, he took a picture with the magazine with it on the cover. And he posted that. And so he was great. And Chloe and Hallie, they've shared it. And Chloe and Hallie, they're on the cover of our current issue. They were signed by Beyonce. They opened for Michelle Obama. I'm trying to get this. They opened for Michelle Obama at South by Southwest the day after our magazine got back from the printer. And then they performed at the Easter egg roll this year too. So that's Chloe and Hallie. They were in Lemonade. So Lemonade. They were in that. Okay. Well, they were in that. They made a cameo in that, and toward the end. And but they just put out their very first original single a few weeks ago. And before, they were discovered by Beyonce on YouTube because they have great harmony. And
they were the two sisters that we kept seeing them from that video, and they were sitting down. Okay, I remember seeing them. Okay, I don't think I even knew that she was coming out with artists, but okay, great.
Oh, yeah.
Who knew? Well, that's wonderful. That's good. Okay, that's what I was just wondering, because that obviously, that's how you go viral. Do something like that, you know.
Well, and Nia Frazier from Dance Mom, she shared it too. And it'll go, what will happen a lot of times is the celebrities will share their cover, and then people will start retweeting and everything, but then it kind of falls off, and then so it's hard to keep that momentum. Sometimes they'll reshare, and then I'll share it, but sometimes it falls off. But we're growing every quarter. Right. It's just slower than
it takes time. Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm always like, happen now, but I'm learning patience.
Yeah. Aren't we all? Aren't we? I understand. Aren't we all? But you know what? I think that's it. You know, for even with this show, it's in my email though. When I request them to be on, I tell them, please share with your networks. Right. And I've not had anyone that didn't. No one has not shared.
Right. Yeah, that's great. It's only been a couple, and it was a few years ago that it happened. Most people now do, but
yeah. So you just and you just kindly, you know, because it's gonna look good for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now everyone, as you see, like I said, you guys see in the background, that's the magazine. So tell everybody what Sesi means.
Okay, so Sesi means sister in the Sotho language of Southern Africa. And that was the hardest part of developing the magazine, coming up with a name. I didn't want it to be basic. So I didn't want to just have some generic name, and I really wanted it to mean something. And I did know I wanted to see if I could have an African name, because I just wanted that. So I looked up different names, different words, and I thought that sister, Sesi for sister, really kind of fit, because it's kind of like a best friend or big sister that our readers go to for advice and fun and all that.
FYI, anybody who wants to ask questions, you can please ask them. You can tweet them to me at Ask Dr. Renee. If you're watching on Google+, you hit the upper right-hand corner right there. You'll see 9 little white boxes. Tap it, and then hit the word Q&A, and a box will drop to the right of your screen, and then you just type in your question down there. You can also, if you're watching on YouTube, you can type in your questions in the comments on YouTube, and our executive producer will get the questions to us. So I'm sure there are some entrepreneurs out there, even if you're not trying to start a magazine, obviously she knows a little bit about the game. So please, it's the question, the boxes are over here in this corner, I've been informed. And so yeah, 9 boxes right there. Tap that, hit Q&A. A box will drop down on the right side of that screen. So definitely, if you have questions, please submit them. She knows about being an entrepreneur. She said she started the magazine in 2012. It's 2016. She's still afloat. So, and look, she's got Keke Palmer on the cover, you know? So she's doing something right. So please, please, please send them in. So there's another good question that I'm surprised no one has asked, but I will ask. How do you, this small magazine, get people like Keke Palmer on the magazine cover, Trevor Jackson? He was in Black Nativity, the movie.
Oh, that was Jacob Lattimore.
Thank you.
Trevor Jackson was in American Crime, though.
Thank you. He was on the television show with Regina King. Yes, yes. So how do you get these people that obviously may not know about your magazine, but, you know, how do you get them? Okay, so all I do is look up their publicist and email them. That's it. Thank you. Wait. How did you look that up? Well, I've used IMDb Pro. Darn it, I wanted you to say Google. That's all I wanted you to say. Okay. Well, I was about to say sometimes I also Google, but when I can't find them on Google, which has happened a few times, I do the free trial on IMDb Pro. But then I keep it. But then I get the names, and usually I can find them on Google, but sometimes they hide. So I've used both of those. Oh yeah, we also had Brightshire Gray Hakeem from Empire, who's on our fall cover. Who is going to be Michael Bivins in the new edition that will be on BT. I'm gonna have to watch that. So yeah, it's really, when I first started, I was just like, well, I guess I just send them an email. I mean, I didn't know if they would say yes. Like, who is this person? And so I just did it, and people actually said, yeah, we'd love to do that. Like, what? Really? So I said, okay, great. When can we set up an interview? And then, I mean, and the people are great. They're great to talk to.
I've never had a bad interview. They're all they all seem to have fun, and they're very forthcoming with their questions. I've never got anything like, I don't want to speak on that. I mean, I don't ask like, crazy things, but it's what our teenage readers would like to know, and they're really great, and the reps are really great. So
that's wonderful. I'm glad that you had great experiences. That's wonderful. But people are always like, how do you
right? Just do it. Just
right.
do it.
Just do it. When you approach people correctly, you get the right responses. When you don't come with your stuff together, that's when they're like, what's this?
Right.
I've gotten requests and there was so many words misspelled. I was like, okay, this don't look right. And so I can't. I'm so sorry, but
I feel you on that, because I don't like that either.
Right.
And in the email, if you're looking to find a PR rep to get in touch with, if you're looking for someone to speak to, really just come out and say who you are, what you're doing. That's what I say in the first paragraph. And then I just say, we'd really like to feature so-and-so on the cover of our next issue. And then that's it. It's 2 paragraphs. That's it.
I understand. Simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid. The KISS principle.
Yeah.
So 5 years from now, what would be your dream for Ceci?
So 5 years from now, I would like to be the #1 teen magazine for Black girls in the nation, maybe the world. And I would like to I would like to be in every state, in every schools in every state, subscribers in every state, continue with the international subscribers as well. I would like to also have an office, because I think that would be amazing, and have my freelancers possibly relocate and we could all work together, because we're all remote now and it's great, but you don't have to be together, but it would be fun because we've never met each other in person. We just talk on the phone and we email. So
now how did you find these freelancers?
So there are a lot of really interesting stories on how I found some of them. So most of them I found just by putting it on our website and they applied, or people I followed, or they followed me on Twitter and they were interested, and so I told them how to apply. One of our freelancers, Princess, she actually emailed me because she wanted to interview me for her blog, and then she wanted to apply, so she applied, and then so she writes for us now. I had a really random, I think one of my favorite stories of finding a freelancer is for my freelancer L'Oreal, who actually, do you know L'Oreal Thompson? She lives in Chicago.
I do.
Okay, so it's like small world.
Because I'm a Girl Scout leader, and she had me write it for their blog.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So L'Oreal and I, when she lived in Maryland, she actually got the job of one of the people who now works with me at Living Social, and that person said to me, "Hey, Andrea, I think this girl L'Oreal will be really great for your magazine. I've heard she does great things in where I used to work. So you should reach out to her." So I was like, okay. That very night, hadn't reached out to her yet. I was like, I'm gonna do it later this week. I was tired. That very night, I got an email from L'Oreal asking, about how to apply to write for us. I go to work the next day, and I was like, did you email L'Oreal and tell her? She's like, no. So it was so random. It was like, I was like, yeah.
She was heaven sent.
Yes. And we clicked. We've never met each other. It's so fun.
Very nice. I actually just saw her a couple Saturdays ago.
Oh, really?
Because I got my 5-year service pin from the Girl Scouts. But,
well, congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, she was there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's great.
I think she used to write for Ebony or Jet too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She used to work. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is. So also, I was going to ask you, do you have any teens that write for you?
What we do, we have journalists or college students writing our articles and doing the interviews, but we take short stories and poetry from our teen readers and we publish those. Also, we've had a couple of teens write for our blog. So what they do is they'll send a whole post to us that they've already written and be like, what do you think of this? And like it, we'll publish it. So I've had that happen too. So that's where we are right now.
Neato. That is wonderful.
Yeah.
So I think this is so fascinating. I don't know anyone that started a magazine. All I know are the existing magazines, but so I think that it's just quite a feat to take on. God bless you.
Thank you.
But do your thing, and I'm excited about your cover shoot, and I'm tell you later some places you can find cheap tickets too.
Okay.
But yeah, you that is really And then do you see this going beyond the magazine? Like Ebony started doing events here in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they didn't do it just in Chicago. They did in LA. They did them in New York, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So do you see?
I have thoughts of that sometimes, but honestly, I can't even go there yet because I'm so overwhelmed. Not overwhelmed, but I'm so in everything else. So I feel like that's another thing in 5 years. I want to have a bigger team so that we can do more of those things. Because right now it's just me and Shannon and our freelancers, and it's just a lot. So it's fun, but it's just a lot. In order to grow, we've got to have a bigger team to continue growing, because we're growing, but we need a lot more people to help us to continue to grow. So I haven't put too much thought into that, but I think about it sometimes yeah, we could be able to do that, have a back to school parties I've thought of, sponsoring those and having those. So I don't really know what that'll look like yet, but I'm open to it, definitely.
So please tell our audience how we can support you so that you can continue to grow and make these milestones.
All right. So you can go to cecimag.com/subscribe to order. And again, it's only $3.99 if you want a single copy, or $10 for a whole year. And we're quarterly right now, so that's 4 issues a year. It's fall, winter, spring, and summer. And what we do is we have the payment on PayPal, and we actually have automatic renewal, which you can opt out of at any time, but you can just use your PayPal account. If you don't want to pay via PayPal, you can just send me an email, and I can send a Square e-invoice to you that way.
Oh, look, it's very fancy. We had another question. Are there any key consistent sections of the magazine besides the short stories?
Yes. So we have our beauty and fashion, all that. We also have a new column that's coming out called Books and Big Hair by one of our writers who also has a YouTube channel by the same name. So she's going to be doing reviews on books and other Q&As with authors. L'Oreal started a column, an advice column called #AskCeciMag, where you can send your questions about life, love, anything. And we have a Work It Girl section in the back of toward the back of every magazine, where we feature one young adult who is in the career that we've chosen for that issue. We've done for example, we did social work. So we'd have someone who just got out of college that we talk to about what it's like. And then we have someone who is in college studying it to see what it's like in college studying it. So we kind of have those two different viewpoints of the career. And that's in every issue. And we have we have our health department, features department, which all the stories change in there, and we have horoscopes at the back. So everything really stays the same, except our features articles, they change throughout. But those are our major departments.
And what would you tell someone that is in a job right now that is not feeding their purpose and they want to pursue their dreams?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I would say I know people may disagree with me, and it depends on what your life situation is. Maybe, I don't know, I can't speak for anyone. However, what I would do if I was giving advice would say, we, not to be corny like YOLO, but we really do only have one life. And even Steve Harvey was talking about this, I think today or a couple days ago.
It was today.
So you have to do what you are here to do, which is not just go to work and collect a check. That's not what you're here to do. I mean, some people are content doing that, and that's fine. But if it's not what you want to do, if you're not content doing that, if you know that you have a purpose or that beyond what you're doing at work, or in just pulling at you, like you need to get out, you need to find something that's feeding your soul and will really give you life, really give me life, then get out. It's not, I know it's not that easy, but you can make transitions. Like even if you can't get out this year, you can start making transitions on, even if you're starting a business, start it on the side and then work your way out over the next year. Or what I did when I was teaching was I just quit. I mean, I finished the school year out, but I did. I didn't have it. It was not feeding my soul. I was crying every day, and it was just not healthy. And it was just not a healthy work environment. And I just made a decision like 2 months before school. I was like, I'm not coming back next year. I can't do it anymore. So I left, and I didn't have a job, and I really didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew I couldn't do that anymore. For me, in that environment, it just wasn't working. What happened was I got a job. I got the job at Living Social, and so that all worked out. And then from there, I got more experience in editing. So I see now, looking back, that each of the jobs that I had, which you may see on your way to transitioning to a new career, are there for a reason, even if you don't see it. So teaching, I really got to get to know teenagers really well again. And then editing in my Living Social job, I got to practice that more and refine that skill more. And then to the magazine. So I personally would just say, find a way to get off the plantation, as they say. So, and find something that really feeds you. Because I mean, for real, you don't want to cry every day you go to work. You don't want to hate getting up to go to work. I don't hate getting up to go to work anymore. I have the shortest commute ever. And I love what I do. Yes, it's stressful sometimes. It's hard being an entrepreneur. So if that's what you're getting ready to do, go into it knowing that it's hard, and you will cry sometimes, but not for the same reason you're crying at a job you hate. You'll just be stressed out, but you'll find a group of people that you can talk to, and you'll figure it out, and you'll be much happier, and you'll look back in your life without any regret.
So I always like to put my disclaimer: not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur, but
Right.
Make sure that the job that you're going to every day is the job you're supposed to be in. So Don't just take a job because it pays. Take the job that you're supposed to be in with something that you're actually interested in doing, because then it won't feel like work.
Right.
It will not feel like work. It will feel like you're having fun all the time. Before I did this life, the job I had was not work. It was a lot of fun. I would have done it for free. Don't tell them that, because I'm not going to do it now. But I would have done it for free because I loved what I did. Right. So it was not a big deal for me to go every day and do that because I liked it. But do realize that you'd be really miserable. You get to the end of your life and realize that you really never lived life. Mm-hmm. You just, did the same. So there was one other thing I was about to say. Oh, I know. So please just put it out there, because this is going to be on for eternity. Put it out there. What are some of your dream sponsors you would like to have in the magazine?
Okay. So, wow. Okay. So, of course, any Black-owned business that is relevant to our audience. So like hair products, natural hair products, relaxed hair products, whatever, clothing lines, because right now we're really reaching out to the Black-owned businesses first, as I said, because they really get what we're doing. But also, as we get bigger, of course, we would love to have CoverGirl and the major brands that are out there too. Any Procter & Gamble product, Shea Moisture, that's back on too. There's just so many, I can't even name them all. L'Oreal, Revlon, I mean anything. Tees in the Trap, I know that's a Black-owned business. I love their t-shirts.
Arsha's in the, we'll talk in a minute. She's in the blogger group.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. I don't know her personally, but we've talked via the internet and stuff. But yeah, okay. Well, that's
Yeah,
good to know. So yeah, so anybody who's watching, all the Black Bizscope family, any of you guys that would think that you would fit in the demographic, it's 13 to 19-year-olds that she targets, 13 to 9-year-old Black girls that she targets as her demographic. So if you feel like you fit in there, please make sure that you either contact me or go to her website, cecimag.com, and definitely talk to Andrea about getting your ad into the magazine.
And my email is cecimag@gmail.com if you want to send a direct email.
See, and then there's her email address. So please give us all your social media handles so we can make sure that we follow those.
Okay, so Instagram and Twitter is @cecimag, and those are really the only ones we focus on right now because they're the ones with the biggest followings. We do have a Facebook page as well, and that's just facebook.com/Ceci Magazine. You can type it into the search. And
right. Too. Okay. Well, we will make sure we follow you. I must say that your parents are amazing for supporting you because, you know, a lot of parents, you've got to be out of your mind. And if you can't make it work, I don't know what you're going to do because you can't come back here. So,
right.
You know, that's a good thing that they are supportive of you. And we can't forget that she does have a younger brother who supports her as well, I'm sure.
He also has his own business and he lives at home too. So yeah, my parents are very supportive. We like to call it our incubator.
Okay. The Butler Startup Incubator. Okay.
Right.
So that's wonderful. And thank you, Mom and Dad, for doing that for her, because I think that you're going to be a role model for a lot of girls coming up that read your magazine. They're going to be like, hey, she started this magazine. Oh my gosh. And then maybe they'll, you know, whatever, maybe they'll be the first Black female president. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
never know.
Exactly. So everyone, thank you so much for watching the Ask Dr. Renee show. We are working on next week. I don't know who will be on. It'll be a surprise to us all. And but I am so thankful that everyone watched. I must, of course, remind everyone, don't forget to get the April issue of Essence if you can still find it, because yours truly is on page 106. So don't forget to pick that up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We have lots of viewers. Not everyone subscribes. So if you can hit, the little thing is going to be right here. It says subscribe here. Please hit there and subscribe. I am Ask Dr. Renee on all social media platforms. So you can follow me anywhere. If you need to talk to me, info@askdrrenee.info is my website, is my email address. My website is right there, askdrrenee.info. And I look forward to talking to you again next week. Thank you so much, Andrea. This was awesome. And I think that you helped a lot of people. So I look forward to the feedback we're going to get. So thank you so much. Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you, guys.